A tourist crossed the line, confident he'd face no consequences. But the guard responded in a way that left the crowd speechless. What happened next? London, a sunny morning. Buckingham Palace stands majestic and serene as always, towering over the bustling square. The air is alive with sounds, the click of cameras, laughter, and the hum of voices. A white line drawn on the grey cobblestone separates the crowd from the royal guards, serving as a reminder of the boundary between everyday chaos and unyielding tradition. A guard stands motionless at his post. He's a tall man in his 30s, with short chestnut hair, fair skin, and a stern expression. His red uniform with gold buttons gleams in the sunlight, and his tall bearskin hat emphasizes his stature. He gazes forward, unmoving, like a statue. The square is crowded with tourists. Some simply observe, admiring the guard's discipline. Others snap photos and record videos. But one person stands out from the rest. It's Tom, a 25-year-old tourist with a flushed face and messy blonde hair. He's wearing a bright t-shirt that reads London Rocks, denim shorts, and sneakers. From his behavior, it's obvious he's had too much beer. Tom laughs loudly, stumbles slightly, and clearly wants to put on a show. He approaches the white line, phone in hand. His loud, slightly slurred voice cuts through the crowd. "Hey, buddy, let's take a selfie." The guard doesn't respond. His gaze remains fixed ahead, and not a single muscle moves. A tour guide, a woman in her 40s dressed in a sharp suit, addresses a group of nearby onlookers. They don't react. It's part of their duty. They're trained to remain stoic in any situation. But Tom, of course, doesn't hear her. His boisterous laughter echoes louder. He turns to the crowd, as if seeking their support. Someone shouts, "He won't even blink!" Tom smirks, raising his phone. "Well, let's find out." The crowd begins to murmur. Some pull out their phones to record, while others shake their heads in disapproval. The guard remains unmoved, his posture perfect, his face as emotionless as stone. Tom steps forward, nearly touching the white line. His actions grow bolder. Waving his phone, he loudly declares, "Come on, buddy, don't be so boring." The guard appears completely unfazed by Tom's antics, but the tension in the crowd rises, along with their curiosity. Someone whispers, "What happens if he crosses the line?" The square falls into a hushed anticipation as Tom takes another step forward, poised to turn this moment into his star performance. Tom grins broadly and steps forward. His bright t-shirt with London Rocks blazes even louder than his voice. The crowd falls silent, and the sound of his unsteady footsteps on the cobblestones fills the air. The white line, the symbol of the boundary, has now been crossed. A gasp escapes from someone in the crowd, followed by the click of a camera. An elderly woman in an elegant hat standing off to the side shakes her head. "This is unacceptable." Tom, seemingly oblivious to the tension around him, raises his phone and moves closer to the guard. His voice, slightly slurred, is much too loud. "Come on, pal, let's do it for Instagram. Let's hug." The guard remains as still as stone. His stern profile doesn't flinch, but a hint of tension shows in his shoulders. The crowd seems to hold its collective breath. Someone whispers, "Does he even realize what he's doing?" Tom leans forward and places a hand on the guard's shoulder. This gesture sends a ripple of murmurs through the crowd. "He's gone too far! That's against the rules." The guard doesn't react. His unwavering stillness only fuels Tom's confidence. Laughing even louder, Tom turns to the crowd, striking a pose for the cameras. "See, I'm almost making him crack." But the real climax begins when Tom's fingers start reaching for the guard's bearskin hat. The crowd collectively holds its breath. A woman with a child whispers nervously, "He can't do that, can he?" And then, like a thunderclap, the guard moves. With a sharp, sudden step to the side, the guard's motion is so swift and precise that Tom stumbles backward, nearly losing his balance. "You have crossed the line. Step back immediately," the guard commands. His voice isn't loud, but it's firm, carrying a steel-like authority that makes everyone freeze. The crowd is stunned. For a moment, no one moves. Then whispers spread like wildfire. "That was incredible. How does he do it?" But Tom, unwilling to relinquish his show, smirks and throws out a challenge. "Oh, come on! You're just part of the act." This statement, delivered with such brazen arrogance, freezes the atmosphere in the square. The crowd begins to divide. Some side with the guard, while others murmur about Tom's foolishness. But one thing is clear. This is the moment where everyone waits to see what happens next. Tom continues to smirk, turning toward the crowd with one hand still raised, as if declaring himself the victor in this absurd standoff. But then, something happens that no one expects. The guard pivots sharply toward him and takes a step forward. The movement is sudden, yet impeccably precise, like a well-tuned machine. The crowd gasps, holding its collective breath. The guard, now standing in full readiness, speaks in a voice that sends shivers down the spine. "You have crossed the line. Step back immediately." The words carry such authority that Tom instinctively steps back. Confusion flickers across his face but quickly gives way to defiance. Laughing, he tries to maintain his role. "Hey, why so serious? It's just a joke." But the moment of levity has passed. From beyond the barrier, an officer steps forward. A tall man in his 40s with dark hair and a commanding presence. His crisp uniform exudes authority, and it's clear from his expression that he's not someone to mess with. The crowd parts to let him through, and cameras immediately turn to capture the scene. The officer gestures firmly toward Tom. "Come with me." The silence of the crowd breaks into a wave of applause. Voices call out, "That's how it's done!" "Good job, guard. Way to go!" Tom's confidence begins to crumble. His smile fades, replaced by a flush of embarrassment. He stammers in protest. "I just wanted a photo. It's for social media." But the officer is unyielding. His voice remains steady and firm. "Your actions disrupted public order." The crowd sides with the guard. Someone shouts loudly, "That's what he deserves. Respect the tradition instead of making a fool of yourself." Tom, no longer the life of the party, reluctantly follows the officer. His once flushed face now shows only embarrassment. He glances back at the crowd, searching for support, but instead finds only approving nods for the guard and disapproving glares directed at him. Cameras click as the moment of discipline triumphing over chaos is immortalized. The guard, calm and composed, returns to his position. His unwavering stance once again becomes a symbol of tradition and honor. The crowd begins to disperse, though many remain to discuss what just unfolded. "I respect the guards for moments like this," an elderly man says to his grandson. "They're real heroes," the boy replies, staring in awe at the motionless guard. This scene ends the conflict, underscoring the importance of honor, discipline, and respect for tradition. Tom, his face now drained of its earlier confidence, walks behind the officer. His steps are slow, his shoulders slumped, and his gaze flickers nervously between the officer and the crowd, as if searching for an escape or an excuse. He tries to muster confidence in his voice, but the trembling gives him away. "Listen, it was just a joke. I didn't mean to. The officer, a man of about 40 with short dark hair and a stern demeanor, doesn't stop. His formal uniform reinforces his authority, and his voice is calm yet resolute. Crossing the security boundary at the palace is no joke. The crowd watches them go. Some continue filming. Others whisper among themselves. In the center of attention, the guard remains. With deliberate, measured steps, he returns to his position. His posture is impeccable, his movements precise. Applause breaks out once again, with admiring glances directed at him. An elderly woman in a neat gray coat and perfectly styled silver hair turns to her teenage grandson, a boy with long chestnut hair, and says softly, "That's what true strength and honor look like. We could all learn from him." The crowd slowly disperses, but applause and approving comments linger. Someone calls out loudly, "Now that's composure. Well done." The guard, back at the white line, adjusts his bearskin hat ever so slightly. The small gesture feels like a symbolic conclusion to the conflict. His face remains impassive, his gaze fixed ahead. He resumes his majestic stance, as if nothing happened. The morning after. The next day, videos of the incident flood social media. Footage from spectators captures the entire scene. Tom's brazen behavior, the guard's stoic response, and the officer's decisive intervention. The clips go viral, racking up views and sparking thousands of comments. Now that's dedication to duty. This guard is a role model for all of us. Traditions like these need to be protected. Others express outrage at Tom's actions. Shame on tourists like him. Hope he learned his lesson. One comment stands out for its simplicity. That was beautiful. The guard becomes a symbol, reminding people of the importance of tradition and discipline. News anchors discuss the incident on TV, emphasizing the guard's composure and professionalism, which leave even the most skeptical viewers impressed. Meanwhile, the guard remains at his post. As the sun sets, its light bathes his still figure. Tourists continue to take photos, but this time they keep a respectful distance. The scene concludes with the elderly woman's parting words to her grandson. "See, my boy, true strength isn't about shouting or showing off. It's about maintaining dignity in every situation." The guard, steadfast as ever, looks ahead, embodying resilience and honor. He stands as a symbol of traditions that remain unbroken, no matter the provocations.